What's up, fight fans? And we're back at it with another one here on Round One Sports Talk. We're going to be talking about some of the biggest fights coming up, some of the biggest boxing news right now in the moment. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So let's catch up on a couple things right now that are going on in the sport of boxing. Right now, there's a little controversy with the Canelo Alvarez and Charlo fight, being the fact that the WBC and the WBA and the IBF and the WBO are all separate entities in the sport of boxing. I need you to remind you that the WBC does not care what the WBO is doing, right? Okay, and the reason why I say that is because Jermell Charlo is being told that he will be stripped of his WBO title on the night that he steps in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. And the reason why they're doing this is a lot of people are not telling you the backstory of what's going on with Tim Tszyu. Okay, the thing with Tim Tszyu is this. We have to take a trip back down memory lane. Tim Tszyu is paid step aside money for that Jermell Charlo can unify the titles, right? In that fight, he fought that fight to a draw. And Tim Tszyu was promised a shot at the title. So they end up having a draw. So they end up having to run it back. So Tim Tszyu, I guess he took some more step-aside money, whatever it was. And to please the masses, the WBO was like, listen, Tim Tszyu, you fight this fight right here for a title eliminator, and we guarantee you a shot at Jermell Charlo's titles. Okay. Jermell Charlo unified the belts, right? And Tim Tszyu went on and fought Tony Harrison. And he dominated Tony Harrison, right? Okay, so that was a title eliminator. So now Tim Tszyu has been chasing Jermell Charlo for about 2 years to get this title fight. But Jermell Charlo has been chasing legacy. Jermell Charlo wanted to unify the belts. He wanted to fight big fights. And, you know, you got Tim Tszyu knocking at the door wanting his shot with respect that he has deserved it. And he has earned his shot because he beat everybody they put in front of him to be his number one contender. And a lot of people, when they're the number one contender, a lot of people don't fill out the paperwork to become the champions mandatory. And Tim Tszyu did. But since Tim Tszyu took step-aside money, that was his first mistake. Because if he was really chasing legacy, he should have never took that step-aside money from the get-go. Now they're looking at him like a step-aside money dude. You know what I'm saying? And Tim Tszyu is like, no, I want my shot. Or give me a piece of that Canelo Alvarez money, right? Because, you know, the Charlo could pay him step-aside money, but why do that? Why pay him step-aside money, right? Let him rub that WBO title on his chest, right? Because the WBO did honor that they wouldn't strip Jermell Charlo until the day after. They're saying the day he steps in the ring, but on paper, I'm letting you know he will be stripped the following day. So that if Jermell Charlo is successful to pull the upset against Canelo Alvarez, he will become the first boxer in boxing history to simultaneously hold 8 belts. 4 at 154 and 4 at 168. Now, he will only hold all 8 belts for that night. According to the WBO, the following morning, he will be stripped and Tim Tszyu will upgrade to the Super WBO champion, in which if Jermell Charlo wins, right, he can just go back down to 154, fight Tim Tszyu's ass, whoop his ass, and retake the WBO title, and once again become the 2-time. Yo, the storylines just get crazier and crazier, right? Because you're gonna have to attach that to him. By the WBO stripping him, he's no longer has 8 belts. He'll have 7. If he goes back down to 154 and fights Tim Tszyu and wins that one, then he'll become the 2-time They're just making these narratives easier to get for these fighters and these moments because of this explosion of all the champions fighting the champions, which makes it very exciting. You know what I'm saying? So Naoya Inoue took to social media in Japan and he announced that he will be fighting Tapales. Now, he's also going to fight the other two fighters, Neres and the other guy, Casemiro. He wants to fight them too as well. He wants to stay at 122 for a little while. But I understand that he's saying that right now. But I think that once he unifies, there'll be other fights at 126 that might just suit him better. I'm not sure if someone could be a bigger superstar, but right now, those guys at 122 got a little star status, so it makes dollars and cents. As far as his legacy and moving up, he's in no rush. Naoya Inoue is going to clean this division, and he's going to clean out the rest of the guys that said, you were ducking me. That's what he's doing. He's doubling back. What Naoya Inoue is doing, he's turning the car around. What you say? Remember when you said that about me? And I'm here now. And he's going to give these guys their opportunity. And I believe within those 3 fights, he can beat all of those guys within a 12-round span, meaning each fighter won't last 3 or 4 rounds against him. I don't think so. One of my subscribers put that bug in my ear too. Shout outs to you. You know exactly who you are. And I was like, yo, that makes sense. I could see that happening. I could really see that happening. So, Naoya Inoue, as far as his trajectory, he's still on pace. As far as him becoming the second man to do this, he might not stand because the Charlo twin is scheduled to fight in September 30th, in fact. So that will be ahead of the Tapales fight, okay? So there's a lot of riding on the Charlo fight versus Canelo Alvarez. There is a lot riding. Now, Devin Haney has signed to fight Regis Prograis at 140, okay? Now, if he's successful and he beats Regis... Now, look, let me just stop there 1 second and just touch on that fight real quick, okay? I'm not going to read too much on Regis' last performance. It was a little shady performance on his behalf, but all boxers are due that one lackluster fight, okay? I think he hits hard, and I think he's going to be in better shape. And sometimes when you have a better dancing partner, it motivates and pushes you in the gym just that much more to get your preparation just that much more tighter, okay? So I think Regis is going to come in and be a better version of himself than his last outing. I'm not going to hold him to that last fight, okay? Because that's not who Regis is. Okay, so Devin Haney is coming in. Now, I've talked about Devin Haney on previous videos, and I've told you, listen, you got to remember that Devin Haney is still a baby, okay? He was 23 years old when he got those belts. He's 24 years old. He hasn't even fully got his man strength yet, okay? So a lot of people that are saying that he's not hitting hard, I'm waiting for his power to show up. Because then, on that moment, I can say that he is a complete fighter for himself. You know what I'm saying? As himself. He has finally got to his potential. Now let's see where he maxes out at. Let's see how much better he gets with all his manpower. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to see. Because I still keep in mind that Devin Haney is really young, man. He just turned 24 years old. All right, like a little while ago. So it's like, listen, for what he has accomplished as a young fighter, amazing. Hats off to you, kid. So then it stands, if he is successful in that fight, what I'm being told behind the scenes, he has a verbal or like a handshake agreement with Teofimo Lopez's camp. So let's see. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. First, he has Regis. And whether or not he vacates the 135-pound all four belt championships, that will be an interesting thing. Because if he does that in the 135-pound division, let's just think about who's in the 135-pound division still. At the top of the list, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko. At the top of the list at the 130. Then you got the other guys like Isai Pitbull Cruz, Jamie Ortiz. You got, that's a rich, stacked division. You got Frank Martin, the Ghost. You got Ali Rivera. I can sit here all night. That division is stacked. You got Ryan Garcia's probably moving up 140. Probably, I'm not sure what he's doing. It hasn't been official that he's leaving 135 or that, let's see. But there are just a lot of big fighters at 135. So, if he vacates, if he wins, if he's successful, we'll talk about that then. As far as Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, listen, Errol Spence Jr. is hurt right now. He's in a position in his life that he just lost all three belts. And not only did he lose all three belts, but he let himself down that night in that ring. He took unnecessary ass whooping because his preparation wasn't where he needed to be. And he quickly realized that when he was in the ring. It had nothing to do with those car accidents or detached retina. Errol Spence Jr. just wasn't himself. And that is due to himself. Okay? It is said, what you put into your craft is what you're going to get out of it. And Errol Spence Jr. just got a rude awakening that, you could have all the will to want to change things around, but it's a slippery slope. And you can go right back to your old behaviors and wake up and say to yourself, how the hell did I get back here? If you're not aware of your surroundings and you don't surround yourself with better friends and better associates that love you and are going to tell you about yourself when you're doing things you're not supposed to be doing, well, then it's just a recipe for disaster if you don't do that. You need people to keep you accountable, Errol Spence Jr. And as for a business standpoint to the fight, I think that Errol Spence Jr. just needs to let the rematch go, move up to 154 in preparation that his stablemate, the Charlo twin, could successfully unify. But the Charlo's twin did say he was coming back down to 154 because he had unfinished business there now with Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu's kind of like that fly on the wall, that pesky fly. You can't get it to go away. And that's the kind of the backlash of being a four-time champion in one division. You know what I'm saying? That you got to please the masses. And each one of your mandatories can fill in that paperwork. But when you're a four-time champion in your division, you're usually probably the baddest motherfucker in that division. So there's not a lot of people beating down your door. But the ones that are could halt you in your previous plans. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to accommodate them. How it works kind of like it. Let's say you're the WBC champion. You have all four belts. And someone in your number one contender filled in the paperwork and wants to fight you. If you fight him, let's say you fight him in the top of the calendar year, now you have met the requirements and the obligation to the WBC. You're free to do and fight whoever you want. Because for the calendar year, you met the requirements of the number one guy. You see? So, now you have to please the WBA, the IBF, the WBO now, and they could be more mandatories for you when you want to go fight some big fight that can hold you. So those are some of the backlashes of being a four-time champion, but having the title of an undisputed champion in your name, shit, man, I'll deal with all the headaches. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing better than that. So Right now, boxing is standing once again to give us big fights. We got Canelo Alvarez. We may get Naoya Inoue back in the ring. And we have 30 days to hear the answer and the outcome of the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. fight. So, touching up on those, let me know what you think. Like always, please like, subscribe, share the videos. And I'm on to the next one. Peace.